Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So today's episode is going to be a little different. It's specifically for camera geeks out there. And if you are a camera geek, you know that Photokina is going on and a huge announcement came out today. And that is Panasonic officially releasing or announcing their new Panasonic Lumix Pro S lines full frame mirrorless cameras. This is something that everybody has been waiting for. These past few months have just been crazy with announcements from Canon with their R line, Nikon Z, and Fuji with their new T3. And full frame has definitely been on the minds of a lot of camera makers, specifically with the Canon and Nikon. And if I remember correctly, the Fuji T3 is actually the APS-C sensor. And so everybody was waiting for this. And out of all the announcements that's been out so far, I think Canons and Nikon were disappointing. People familiar had one card slot on there, and also the cropping factor with Canon. Definitely not a good thing. Fuji came out the best so far, but everybody's been waiting for the Panasonic Lumix, and now we have it. And so what Panasonic's doing is they're going to be releasing this new Pro line of full frame camera systems. And so it's going to be the S1 and the S1R. So the S1 will have a 24 megapixel camera, and then the other one is going to be a 47 megapixel. And obviously in the whole photo and camera videography field, it's not just about the actual megapixels, it's more about the lenses and the system. And in this case, Panasonic has paired up with both Leica and Sigma to produce brand new lenses for this system. And if I'm not mistaken, they're planning to produce about 20 lenses, maybe by 2020, but maybe 10 lenses by the end of 2019. Now, they don't have a lot of details yet. I think they only have mock-ups at Photokina. But let me see on some of these things that it has. It's going to have the Leica L-mount lenses. And so this is the existing L-mount series of lenses by Leica. So it's the Leica SL, CL compatible. So you could use existing Leica lenses and use it on this camera, if I'm not mistaken. The Micro Four Thirds lenses are not compatible. So more than likely, we're probably going to have to get some type of adapter in order for it to work on this camera. And let me see, the Panasonic will produce the S lenses at 50 millimeters with a f1.4 aperture, and then the Panasonic S will also have a 24 to 150 millimeter and 70 to 200 millimeter post launch. And so these lenses, I'm pretty sure they're going to be top notch. If you are familiar with Leica lenses and Sigma lenses, they're very high quality, especially a Leica, and they're super expensive. So I'm pretty sure this is not going to be cheap. And in terms of the Pro lines, Panasonic is calling this the Lumix S series, whereas the Lumix G, which is what most people have, like right now, I have a Panasonic G85. It's a Lumix G series. And so I definitely love this camera, but this is more a step up. So right now, if you want the best of the best that Panasonic has to offer, it's going to be the Panasonic GH5 and GH5S. At least that's in their consumer, prosumer line. That doesn't include their commercial stuff. And so that's where the best of the best is right now. So this new S line is going to be above that. And I'm pretty sure this is not going to be intended for beginners. I'm pretty sure this is going to be more for pro to prosumer levels. And so pricing, they haven't announced that yet. But my guess is the S1 itself is probably going to be around the 2,000 or above. And then the S1R is probably going to be 3,000 and above. And then if you factor in the lenses and everything, being Leica and Sigma, it's probably not going to be cheap. So my guess is you're probably going to spend about $5,000 to get into this. And other things that it has a very, very high quality EVF. Panasonic is stating it's going to be the best out there, and I really feel that that's going to be true, because even the EVF on the GH5, G9, GH5S, GH5, they're all excellent. And it's also going to have a tri-foldable screen. I do hope that means it's fully reticular, and I wouldn't doubt that they wouldn't do that, because they do that on pretty much all their G lines. So hopefully we don't have this whole tilty screen thing. That would be absolutely horrible. And so it also has a top display illuminator. So I'm assuming that's going to be like the Panasonic G9. It is 100% weather sealed, just like the G85, GH5, GH5S, and the G9. So that's definitely a good thing. And it will also have dual card slots. One for SD, standard SD, and also the XQD. So definitely an advantage over the Nikon and Canon. And this is something that Panasonic does anyway on their GH series. and so that's definitely a good thing. And another thing that there was like concerns about was whether or not it'll still have IBIS, you know, with their in-body stabilization and their dual IS. From what I'm reading here, they're still gonna have that, which is sweet. And the final thing, besides all the different switches that they're talking about, they don't have any pictures or videos yet. I might get that later if I could find it. And the one thing that I think everybody is concerned about with Panasonic cameras, this is their Achilles heel, is autofocus. And unfortunately, from what I could tell here, they're still going to be using their contrast-based autofocus. It will be an upgraded version of their DFD technology. I think it's DFD2, but they're not going to be using phase detect, you know, or a hybrid of phase and contrast based. And so I am disappointed in that, you know. However, we don't know the actual quality of their brand new autofocus, but I'm hoping that it is way better than anything that they've done so far. Now, a lot of people who do use the Panasonic G line, especially pro levels, they normally don't use autofocus anyway. I use manual mode. I don't use autofocus because honestly, I cannot trust the autofocus on my Panasonic G85. So I'm hoping that this new version of their contrast-based autofocus is going to be amazing, hopefully, or at least way better than what we currently have, because that's really the only thing keeping Panasonic back from actually dominating both Sony and Canon. Because now that they have a full frame camera, they're now in the world of where Canon, with their DSLR, their Nikons, and especially Sony, which is probably going to be the biggest competitor when it comes to full frame mirrorless. Everybody's gunning for Sony, especially with their release this year of the A7 III. And I think they're going to be releasing a brand new A7000, if I'm not mistaken. And so the rest of what they're talking about, at least in this article, is basically it's going to be more how things are set up physically. There's going to be more switches, more function buttons. There's going to be a movie button in the back. And also it is going to be slightly bigger than the GH line, which makes sense because this is now a full frame and not a micro four thirds. It will be able to do 4K at 60p, which is excellent, and a brand new Venus engine as well. Let me see if there's anything else that's interesting. There isn't really much else besides they're going to have a new Lumix Pro support department just for people on the Pro line, and I'm pretty sure more details will come out. But overall, my initial reactions, I'm very excited with this new Panasonic full frame line. Now for myself, I'm basically a beginner with my Panasonic GH5, and so it would be a while before I actually make the upgrade to that level, because I really do not think this is for beginners. Even for medium people, I really feel this is really people who are pro or getting into the pro area. And so it's definitely going to be an investment, especially with this new system that they have being full frame and everything. And so I'm very curious and interested to see what Panasonic's going to do with this, what they're going to offer, and obviously how is the image and video quality, how is the autofocus going to be, you know, what other additional features is this camera going to offer, what are these main benefits, how are they going to take advantage of the new full frame versus micro four thirds, even versus the APS-C sensor that Sony or Fuji is using. And so all those things have yet to be announced and talked about, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be more news concerning that. But right now, I'm definitely happy that Panasonic's done this, and you know, I'm also happy that they didn't get rid of things such as IBIS. And I know for people at pro levels, they don't use that anyway. You know, everything is going to be manually stabilized. But this would be a great entry point for people who want to get more into the pro level stuff. And I'm glad that they're offering more competition to the existing full frame providers out there. And hopefully they can provide more value, which they've always done with their Panasonic G line of cameras, more value than their competitors. It's just going to cost a lot more than what we're probably ever used to for spending on their Panasonic G line, the GH series notwithstanding. And so if you had any thoughts about Panasonic's latest announcement of their new S-Line series, these are my initial reactions. Be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And as always, if you did get value out of these videos, share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Gold Content Creators group, where you'll get access to 30 videos plus additional content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.